Well, hello everybody and welcome back to Lisa's Coloring Corner. Today I wanted to go through some Prismacolor Premier color combinations, color blends, I should say. If you've seen a previous video of mine, I showed you my color swatch book, which is getting thicker and thicker. With all of my coloring mediums. I created this book and I split it out by color combinations. Then I have all of my pencils back here. I then have a tab for all of my markers, and then I have a tab for all of my miscellaneous supplies. So I tabbed out each particular coloring medium. I created all my own color charts because I like consistency. I'm kind of OCD that way. So I created all my color charts. They're all made the same way. Some of them have larger spaces. The markers, of course, have bigger spaces. The colored pencils have littler spaces, and I do a light, a medium, a dark pressure. Put them in my own order, things like that. So I did show my swatch book. If I remember, I will link that video down below. So yeah, this is my binder. Now in the beginning of it are my color combinations, my blends, if you will. And in the beginning, I didn't have too much in this particular section. However, I wanted to show you something that I've been working long and hard on for the past few weeks. In particular, this weekend, I have spent many hours on this project, and I finally got it done. Now this is just for the Prismacolor Premier pencils. I still have the polychromos to do, my Holbeins, and then the big project, which is going to be my Copics, because I have a gazillion different color blends that I want to get documented down in one form or another. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it yet, but because I have a bunch for skin, a bunch for hair, a bunch for this, that, and the other thing. So, as well as your regular color combos. So I thought I would show you what I put together, because I know so many of us struggle as far as what colors blend together really well. Some of them are kind of common sense. You take a bunch of yellows, put them together. You take some reds and maybe an orange, or, you know, something that's real similar, and you blend them together. Greens, that's a real good example. But then we get into some different types of blends. And colored pencil is a little bit easier to blend colors together than, say, marker, alcohol marker, where you go from very drastic different colors. Those are typically hard to blend with a marker, whereas with colored pencils, you can get away with it a little bit better, especially with the Prismacolors, because they're so soft and waxy. You can blend them together much easier, because Prismacolors are more of a blending colored pencil, whereas polychromos and kind of the Holbeins to an extent are a harder colored pencil, and so those are more for layering, putting different layers together to get your different colors. So those are going to be kind of a different animal to tackle versus the Prismacolor, and that's why I wanted to start with these, and these are the most popular pencil out there still, I do believe. So let's zoom in just a tad. First and foremost, the color combinations that I printed out and put in my book, these are from Color with Claire. And she has a website. Might be kind of shiny being in this sheet protector. Yeah, I guess it kind of is. Here we go. It's at colorwithclaire.com. Oh, I'm sorry. Still fighting this cough. One moment. I'll take a drink. I can't talk. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you go to colorwithclaire.com, color with a U in it because she's over in the UK. And she has color combinations for Prismacolor. There are 2 pages of color combinations. She gives you colored examples and then all of the colors that are in that combination. She also has one for the polychromos, and she does have one for the Holbeins. Now, I'm not sure. I should have looked before I started this video. She may also have one for the luminance. I'm not sure. But check out Color with Claire, and you can download and print these all out, and they're fantastic. I think that's very nice that she has done that for us. Then, oh, I'm so sorry. Kitten Clowder also has a website, and it is where I have signed up for a number of my Copic coloring classes. They have a lot of different classes that you can sign up for on this website. I just haven't taken any of them yet. But on their website, they also have some color combinations that you can download and print for free. So they do have one again for the Prismacolor, and they do have one for the polychromos and the Copics. So I printed out all of those. Now I think because I am getting a number of pages of color combinations, rather than keeping these in my binder with my color swatches like I think because that binder is getting so full, I'm going to create a separate binder with just my color combos, and I'm going to split them out by coloring medium with, tabs. And so when I get out, say my Prismacolor, I can go right to that section and look at my color combos. Okay, so these are the ones that I did not make up. I just downloaded them and printed them. Then the part that I've been working on, I created in MS Word a document. This particular one is for Prismacolor. I do have one for polychromos and Holbeins. Have not printed those out yet. I just printed these on, rather than just straight printer paper, I have a little bit heavier printer paper that I just picked up, I believe, at Walmart. I believe. Let me go grab the package and I can show you what the package looks like so I can give you the weight of the paper. One moment. Okay, this is the paper, and yes, I must have bought this at Walmart because they have a lot of Georgia Pacific paper there, and it is 28 pound. I have a wrapper here. I'm about out of paper. I got to get some more. Your standard printer paper is 20 pound. So this is 28 pounds. So again, it's just a little bit heavier than your standard printer paper. And so I wanted to print all of these sheets on this little bit heavier paper. Okay, 300 sheets, and it wasn't very expensive at all. So it's just, like I said, a little bit heavier than your standard paper, so I like it. And what I did was in MS Word, I love MS Word. I pretty much know Word in and out. I used to be a programmer, a computer programmer, and I programmed in WordPerfect and then in MS Word, then eventually onto mainframe software and whatnot. So I do know MS Word pretty well. I don't know Excel very well at all, and PowerPoint, not much at all. So everything that I do in MS Word. I do in table format, and just work with the borders as far as, eliminating borders and whatnot, so it makes it look this way. I didn't like, I wanted mine set up in a certain way, and I couldn't really find what I was looking for, so I thought I'll create my own. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit. I split out all of my color combinations by color family. So this first page is, it contains all of my yellow type of combinations. I have a column here that lists the Prismacolor pencil number and name, and lists all of them. I have a total of 5 spots here. I don't very often use 5 different colors. Many times I will actually go down to 3, only 3 colors. And there are a few that I actually only have 2, and you'll see those. But occasionally I will go with the entire 5. Many of these color combinations I found on YouTube. Davlina, is it Davlina Arts? Love how she colors, and she has some of the most gorgeous color combinations. So I wrote down, because she shows the colors, names and numbers as she's coloring, and so I jotted them all down. Then I grouped them according to kind of what color family they went into. Some of them, of course, crossed over different color families. If it was like blues that went into green, or, you know, purples into pinks, things like that. So I put them wherever. But typically I tried to keep them in color families. I did find a bunch of these on Pinterest, and there are a couple of Facebook groups. If you're looking for color combinations you may be interested in, and if, again, I think of it, I will link these down below. There is one called Prismacolor Combinations. How appropriate. If you look in their files and in the albums section, you are going to find a ton of information. And I believe that is where I got this particular document. And I'm probably going to recreate this on my own. Let me zoom back out a little bit so you can see the whole thing. What this is it converts all the Prismacolors to polychromos. Now, of course, we all know there's 150 Prismacolors versus 120 polychromos. So not every color is going to match exactly. And I did see a colored version of this, and yeah, some of them are pretty off. But I just thought this was really neat. Some of the colors are just spot on, and I thought this is a really different take on a conversion chart. So again, I am probably going to recreate this in MS Word somehow, and if I do, I will let you know, and if you're interested in it, I could send it to you, but I'll let you know if I'm able to recreate this. But if you want this handwritten version, again, I believe this was in Prismacolor Combinations in the files section, I think. So I'll link that Facebook group down below. The other Facebook group that is just awesome and is just a humongous wealth of information is Teresa's coloring group for Prismacolor and Polychromos color combinations. That's a long Facebook group title. But this is for Teresa, I believe it's Ivanor, yes. And she has some books out that you can get on Amazon. I believe there are 5 volumes. I don't know if all 5 volumes were eventually made into actual books. I have a couple of PDFs because at that time when I bought this one, a number of the other volumes were only available in PDFs. She has a couple of workbooks for Prismacolor. She has a couple for Polychromos. And then there is a 5th one, and I think it's just showing a bunch of additional combinations and worksheets where you can color in and come up with your own. I'm not exactly sure. But what this book does, this goes through the Prismacolor Premier and Scholar pencils. And what she has done is she has come up with her own numbering system for all of the colored pencils. So the numbers that you see in here will not be the Prismacolor numbers that you see on your pencil. She has a different coloring or numbering system, like I said, and she puts them in order, kind of like how we put them in color order, not numerical order. That's what she has done, and she has renumbered all of her pencils. So it's kind of a neat way of going about it. But what this book, I will link this book down below. This particular one that I got, these are kind of on the pricey side, but they are in color. And she has put a lot of time and effort into these books. I believe this one is like $30-some. The bigger volumes, I think, are like closer to 50. So I got the cheaper one, and it's volume 1. So the PDFs, of course, are cheaper. What she has done in here, let me zoom you in a little. First, she starts out with the color chart. She shows her number, so cream is 001. But she does give you the Prismacolor pencil number on here. But it is showing what her color number is for each of these. Now, she will have a PC for Prismacolor, and then she'll have a PCS for some of these, which is the Scholar pencil. So she includes both in the design of this book. She shows 2 circles. One is lighter pressure, one is very heavy pressure. So for those of you like me, I like to see both because the color can be totally different depending on the pressure that you use on your pencil, right? Okay, let's zoom back out again. So she goes through all of the colors of the Prismacolor sets, all the way through the greens, the browns, the grays. Then she gets into the color wheel, and she splits this up very differently. She shows you in here, and it explains this on this page. It says, the following chart is a chart similar to a standard color wheel. However, this is my take on the color wheel using Prismacolor Premier pencil crayons. How do you use it, you ask? Well, to try and choose accompanying colors for a page, you can select any colors from the same numerical row. All colors listed in row 1 accompany each other. Same goes for rows 2 through 6. So if you look at these pages, here she has a row. Let me zoom you in again a little bit, and I apologize if this is a little, okay, there we go. Here's your red, orange, orange, yellow. So she splits them out by color family across the page. But then row 1, she shows the colors, the names, and here she shows her color number. But she shows colors that would work for a coloring page. And it is split out again by row. And so she shows a whole bunch of colors that will work together on the same page. So I thought that was kind of neat. That was very different. I have never seen this before. She always gives you room in this particular book. Let me turn the brightness down just a tad. There, is that better? Gives you room to color in yourself with your own colored pencils, because again, we know the colors that are printed in the books are only as good as that particular printer or your printer at home. So it's always best to have them colored out yourself. However, this paper is quite smooth. I'm not sure. I'm assuming it should color okay in here, or she wouldn't have had it. I don't know. Maybe the best thing, I hate to say this, but you know, if you tear this book apart, exacto the whole book apart, you can make photocopies of them. I don't know if you want to do that or not, but some people do that. They dismantle their books. Okay, and then we get into, let me get these out of the way until I get into that. Then we get into all of the color combinations that she has put together. And again, all of the numbers that are here are her numbers. These are not the, let me zoom you in even a little more. These are not the numbers on our Prismacolor pencils, but again, in the front of this book, she listed what her number is versus the Prismacolor number so that you kind of know what pencil it is. So here she has cool color combinations, and again, room over here for you to color them in yourself. And then she goes down into some more color combinations. Let me zoom you out a little bit more so you can see a little more of the page at one time. We get into some of the warm colors and just oodles and oodles of color combinations. So I thought this was a good video to show you this particular book. Here are some more warm color combinations. Then she gets into color combinations that are going to be presented in different formats rather than just how we typically see them and how I created them. She has spheres with all of the color combinations underneath them. And again, she has a lot of them. Then she gets into some hearts. Whole bunch of them. There. Here's a bunch of the yellows. Some very different types of color combinations. So if you want some unusual ones and your standard ones, all kinds of combinations. So yeah, if you want color combinations, boy, this is the book for you. Just goes through tons and tons and tons, all the way through all the colors. I'm just skipping through a whole bunch of them, you know, till we get to the browns, and eventually we will be getting into the grays. Then we get into just some circles where it's not coloring it as a sphere per se, where it's, you know, shaded as a sphere. This is just colored from the bottom, from the darkest on up to the lightest color. Many of these, which I like, are only 2-color blends. So to me, this would be great if you were coloring, say, a Johanna Basford and you have a bunch of little leaves where you can't get 3-4 colors, you know, blending in those little bitty leaves. But you wanted to have, you know, maybe a little bit darker base to that leaf and then blend it out to a lighter color. These 2-color combinations are perfect for that. So I love that she has all of these 2-color combinations in here. And again, she goes through all of the colors in the Prismacolor set, and every single one of these are 2-color combinations, and some of them are so pretty. There are combinations in here I would never have dreamed up in a million years. Then in the back of the book, she gives you room to come up with your own color combinations. So here are some 2-color combinations. Here are up to 6, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, up to 6 colors in the hearts. And she gives you a whole bunch of sheets back here for your own color combinations. Then she comes up with these color combo worksheets. And let me zoom you in on these. So if you have an artist that you're watching, I'm assuming that's what these are for. I haven't really gone on the website or the Facebook group to really see what these are about. But if you, again, look in the files and the albums, you're going to find a whole bunch of people that have completed these and put pictures of them out in the Facebook group. So there are even more color combinations, tons and tons of color combinations that you can find in the Facebook group itself. So it is a great group. But you can put down the colors that that particular artist used in her YouTube video, or I'm not sure what the page/book means, and page number. So yeah, I'm assuming it must state something about how these are actually used in either the Facebook group or maybe in the beginning of this book. Or I think she does have a website out there. I'm going to have to do some more digging to see exactly how this is used. But that's kind of was my initial take on this, where you're watching a YouTube video and you like the color combination that they used, kind of like what I did for some of my color combinations that I did. I just jotted them down on a sheet of paper because I like to actually see the blend itself. But there's a bunch of these sheets in the back. So this is Teresa Ivan, I think is how she pronounces it. And on the back of the book, it does talk about her Facebook group. And yeah, I will link this down below. So yeah, this is just volume 1. I think there's volume 1, 2, 3 out there. And then maybe 4 and 5 you can only get in PDF. All you have to do is contact her directly. You pay her through PayPal, and then she emails you directly the PDF. So a couple of things that I did find out or find on her Facebook group. This is just a small sampling of the enormous wealth of information and downloads that you can get on her Facebook group in the files section and the albums, but I found these, I believe, all in the files. This is one that I really wanted to print out. It's a little bit lengthy, but it goes through flowers, all different kinds of flowers, what each color of flowers represents. Then she goes through a ton of different types of flowers and talks about what colors typically are in that flower. She will talk about, you know, maybe there are some other colors, like for instance, amaryllis. It says, although red and white are the most popular colors, the flowers may be pink, orange, yellow/green, salmon, and petals with a different edge color and in both single and double forms. Okay, now let's say for the Calla lily. This I did not know. It says Calla lilies are commonly white, which is what I knew, but they also come in a variety of colors, including yellow, pink, green, purple, orange, and black. The colored varieties are called mini Calla lilies, and each carries a different meaning. I never knew Calla lilies came in all those different colors, especially black. Did you guys know that? Maybe I mean, I don't know my flowers very well. And I've said that in the past, but boy, I did not know that one. So yeah, she goes through tons and tons of different flowers. Then what she has after that, you come up with your own color combinations or things that she has suggested for each particular flower here. And she lists, like, number 1 is amaryllis. So you can color it in, and it says here, my numbers. Here is number 2, which is, how do you say that? Anemone. Here's just your simple fictitious type of flower. Tiger lily, sunflower, tulip, violet, and then another simplistic type of flower. She goes through a ton of different flowers in this particular document. As you can see, she goes through all of the flowers, I believe, that she talked about at the beginning, and then some, I think. Some of them are repeated. I've seen, you know, tulips and tiger lily in here a few times. But like chrysanthemums and daffodils, dahlias, hibiscus, I mean, you name it, and the flower is in here. So I thought this would be fantastic. You know how many coloring books we have that have flowers in them? And some of these also have, you know, your stems and leaves. So you can also, because there's so many circles here, you can also put your greens in here too. So, I mean, just look at this. This document is huge. At least I don't think I printed it twice. I didn't think so. But, so this is the flower document. I only printed a couple of the documents out. There is one for animals. There is one for, oh my gosh, I mean, there are just so many out there. But I wanted the flower one, and I wanted the butterfly one. She goes through all kinds of different butterflies. Look at these. I love butterflies. So this is another one that I wanted. Not as big of a document, but it doesn't need to be. And the other one that I printed out, because I really want to get into coloring people. I have not, up to this point, colored people. But you can get different skin tones and hair. And like here, it says skin. So number 1 is skin. Number 2 is hair. Number 3 is eyes, and number 4 is lips. And then this here column repeats. So, I mean, isn't that an awesome reference that you could have as far as color combinations? And I mean, you can make as many copies of this as you want. Then we have some more skin, hair, eyes, and lips. Just looking a little bit different. And then another one. And finally, another, oh yeah, there is one more. So there are a number of sheets containing all different types, you know, long hair, short hair, you know, what have you, different eye shapes, lips, face. So these are all free out on her Facebook group. Again, there's a ton more than just these. Like I said, the only other one I can think of right off the bat is animals. I remembered animals. I almost printed that one off, but I thought, this was enough to show you. If I ever want to go back and print more off, I always can. So that is Teresa's Facebook group, which I think is just fantastic. Okay, let's get on to what I've been working on then. Are all these color combination sheets. Again, I got many of these from YouTube and Pinterest, and then I created a bunch of my own, especially where I felt some of the color combinations were lacking from what I found. So I did create some yellows on this page because I wanted a few more yellow combinations and some lighter ones, so I created a few of these. Then I have a ton. Let me zoom you back out. You might not be able to see these too good. I have a ton of reds, orange, yellows. Like this one probably should have went on the pink and purple page, which I'm going to show you next. And this one probably should have too. And many of these look very, very, very similar. But each one has just a little bit different of an aspect to it. Like this one is Scarlet Lake, pale vermilion, yellow to orange, and canary yellow. This one also starts out with Scarlet Lake, pale vermilion, but then it has Spanish orange. You know, so many of them start out with a red. Now these start out with magenta, so they start out on the little bit of the pinker side. Some start out darker, but yeah, some of these closely resemble each other, but again, they're a little bit different. And so I did include them all because depending on the picture you're coloring, you may want just that subtle little bit of a difference. This one probably should have gone on my browns page. Oh well. I ended up having to start these pages over a couple of times because even though some of the color combinations I found said they were on the same sheets as Prismacolors, had them all written down, and then when it went to look up the color number, I'm like, okay, I know I've heard of this color. I cannot find it in the Prismacolors. Here it was a polychromos, like Delft blue. I know that that's a color. I know I've heard of it. I know I've colored with it. Could not find that. Didn't remember that it was a polychromos and not a Prismacolor. And because these are going to be my permanent sheets, I'm too OCD to just go through and X one out. So thank God I only had a few colored in and I was writing in the bottom. So yep, started from scratch, did it over. So yeah, this probably took me a lot longer than it should have just because of my OCD affliction. So here are a bunch of my purples and pinks. I wanted little bit like a purple to a pink, a light purple to a pink. Then I wanted a dark purple combination. You know, I wanted some different things. So I did come up with some of my own down here. But yeah, this is all the purples and pinks. Okay. Then I thought these are so pretty. Love these. I went on to the blues. Many of these go from blues to like the light green, but again, each one is a little bit different. Isn't this one gorgeous? I think this is my favorite color combination out of the whole batch. Let me zoom you in, let you see it. I just think it's gorgeous. This goes from light aqua to non-photo blue to blue violet lake to lilac. And I just think that is stunning. So I want to come up with a few more color combinations that kind of takes that idea and come up with some different types of color schemes, color combinations like this one is. Wanted some more standard blue combinations on this page. So again, I did come up with some of my own. Then we get into all of the green combinations. And yes, there are a ton of these, but I wanted a bunch of green color combinations because, again, all of our floral coloring books, so many of them, you know, so many of our books have tons of leaves in them, tons of flowers in them. So I do want to come up with some more flower combinations. But I thought, this should suffice for leaves and any other type of green type of objects that you need to color. Here I did have a couple of 2-color combinations. So kind of like what Teresa has in her book. The 2-color, I mean, look at this blend. It's really pretty, but all it is peacock green and true green. And I thought that was so pretty. Here's olive green and apple green. And then here's a couple of really different ones. This one's dark green faded into yellowed orange. Here's apple green faded into yellowed orange. So I thought that was so neat. And I am by no means an expert in blending colors. I really took my time doing all of these blends. Some turned out better than others. This one you can really see like a line in there. But many of them blended out really, really nice. And again, that's what Prismacolor is known for. Was not that hard to get these color blends, even when you did such drastic color changes from different color families. Prismacolor's the bomb for blending your colors together. And then finally, a whole ton of brown combinations, and many of these you can use for skin color combinations. I do want to do a separate sheet, and I did print out a bunch of extra ones that I have in the back here. I do want to do a separate sheet of just skin color combinations because we have so many different ethnicities out there. There are so many different skin color combinations that you can come up with. These I figured you can use for hair along with the yellows, possibly, you know, the reds, although these are really bright. I mean, maybe you could use this for a hair color. But I'm toying with the idea of just creating separate sheets for one for skin, one for hair, you know, things like that. And just kind of add to all of this. Now, I don't know if I do have a scanner. I could scan all of this into a document if anybody would be interested in these sheets, these color combos that I kind of all put together from all these different sources. I don't know, would anybody be interested in having copies of all of this? I think it would scan okay. I could also, if anybody's interested, send you the blank MS Word document. Of course, you would have to have Word on your computer in order to use it. It may convert over to, I don't know, if you have a conversion program from Word to PDF. I do not have the Word to PDF conversion. I didn't want to pay for that. Yeah, I have the PDF, you know, the Acrobat, Adobe Acrobat program, but in order to convert, you got to pay for that. So I did not do that, but maybe you have it. I don't know. But let me know. My email is listed down below in the description. It's lisascoloring@gmail.com. I will go ahead and scan all of these pages into my scanner. I will create it as a PDF, so it would be easiest for you guys to download and print off yourself. And then you can also email me if you want the blank one to create some of your own. How does that sound? I would be happy to do that for you. And maybe you have a bunch of color combinations of your own and you don't really need this. I don't know. I will do separate videos when, probably way down the road, because it's not like I have nothing to do here. When I get a bunch of polychromos together, when I get a bunch of Holbeins together, and the Copics, even though I know there's a ton of these videos out there, I just thought I would share kind of what I put together, and I hope you kind of found this interesting to look at what I all, you know, got together as far as combinations, because I know so many of us struggle with that. We have some terrific resources out there, especially Facebook groups for free. You know, printing all of this out and being able to do some practice on all of these flowers and whatnot that's in this Facebook group, to me, is just phenomenal. I could not believe what was all out there. She has color charts out there for just about any kind of coloring medium you can imagine. Any kind of colored pencil you can think of. Markers that you can think of. Even she even has the color gel pen color chart out there. She has all the watercolor brush pens out there. I mean, you just go to that Facebook group and you look in the files, and there's also a lot of things in the albums too, but the files is just amazing. I was just dumbfounded last night when I was going through. I mean, I knew she had a bunch of stuff in there, but boy, I did not know how much she actually has in there. I mean, the ton of work that she had to have put into all of that, it boggles the mind. You know, just getting this stuff together alone just had to have taken a long, long time. And the fact that it's all free, yeah, you might as well take advantage of it, right? Okay, I guess that is it for this video. Again, let me know if you're interested in, well, these you can get yourself off the internet. I will link to Color with Claire, and I will link to Kit and Clowder, and also the 2 Facebook groups that I mentioned, and this book on Amazon. I will link the other books that are on Amazon also, in case you are interested maybe in the Polychromos book too. There's a second volume for Prismacolor also, and I'm not sure what volume 2 all entails, if it's just additional color combinations. I can't really remember. But I will link all of them too, as well as the Facebook groups. So hopefully I will remember all of that. So I hope, again, you found this video interesting. Let me know if you're interested in any of this. If you liked this video, give it that thumbs up. And please subscribe if you are new to my channel. I hope everybody's having a fantastic weekend. Or by the time you see this, probably the beginning of the week. And as always, happy coloring. Bye.